Hey everyone, welcome back to Astronomy Into the Stars. In this video, I'm going to go over the Celestron 70mm travel scope. It's a telescope that you can buy on Amazon. It's a perfect telescope to follow along in this YouTube series. I'm going to show you exactly what this telescope can do, and then you can decide if this is the one that you want to buy to follow along. Alright, so let's start off with the name, the Celestron 21035 70mm travel scope. The first word, Celestron, that's the name of the company that made the telescope. Celestron's a great company. If you buy a telescope with the word Celestron on it, you know you're getting a good telescope. The 21035, that's the model number that Celestron has given this telescope. It has nothing to do with the specifications of the telescope, and you can ignore it. The 70mm, that's the aperture of the telescope. We talked about aperture in a previous video. It's the most important part of the telescope. Basically, it means the barrel of that telescope is 7 centimeters wide, or 70mm wide. It's called a travel scope because, as you can see down here, it says item weight 3.3 pounds, which means it's extremely light. So if you want to pick it up and take it to a campsite or take it outside the city where you can set it up in a nice observing spot, it'll be very easy to do because it's so light. The telescope is only $117 Canadian. And the other important part of the telescope is the focal length. The focal length of this telescope is not listed here. However, if you scroll down through this Amazon listing, you'll see there's a specification sheet that if you click on, it'll bring up the specifications. Under focal length, I can see that it's 400 millimeters. So what are you going to be able to see with this telescope? I found a great website that will simulate exactly what you're going to see. You just put in the numbers of the telescope and it will show you what you're going to see. Stellvision.com is a website you can go to where you can type in the specifications of your telescope and it'll show you what you'll be able to see. I put the link to this website in the description below. I've already filled out the information. The diameter of the telescope that we're looking at is 70 millimeters. The focal length is something I found in the specifications. It's 400 millimeters. And this telescope comes with two eyepieces, a 20 millimeter and a 10 millimeter. If I go down and click simulate, it's going to show me what it looks like with both eyepieces. Of course, the 10 millimeter eyepiece is going to be more zoomed in than the 20. Let's start off with the 20 though, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. So I'm going to click on this one, and this right here is supposed to be representation of what you would see. So you imagine if your eye was right up against the eyepiece, that's what you would see. If we use the 10 millimeter eyepiece, we'd be able to see a lot more, and that's perfect. Other than that, that's really all you need to know about this telescope. Let's take a look at the image and see if there's any nice to have features. So if we take a look, we can see there's a finder scope on top. That finder scope, most telescopes have it, just allows you to make sure you know where you're looking. I can see that it has two focus knobs on both sides of the telescope. I see that the eyepiece comes with an angle mirror, which will allow the light to be bent upwards, making it easier to view through the telescope. I also see that the telescope has an alt-azimuth mount. It's a very common mount that you may have used on a tripod with a DSLR camera before. You can simply move the telescope up and down, left and right. The tripod looks like it's just normal aluminum, and it should do the trick. We just don't want the telescope to move too much, and you can see it comes with a bag. That bag is going to be perfect to carry this telescope around and to store it when you're not using it. So other than that, that telescope is fine. $117 Canadian. Sounds perfect to me. Alright, in the next video, I'm going to show you the telescope that I have and what I'll be using throughout this YouTube series.